Hi guys, this is Patrik and welcome back to another video on this channel. In today's video, I'm going to be covering a pretty big issue with SDRs. I personally have my SDR on the roof, mounted in a waterproof casing with a Raspberry Pi that is running OpenWebRX Plus software for the web SDR that you can visit this address. But there is a big issue with this. I personally sometimes prefer more having full control over my SDR, and that is just not possible with OpenWebRX because it's based on something called profiles, and they define settings for individual bands that you want to receive. You just cannot click like 14 MHz button and it will pop you into the 14 MHz or 20 meter band. That's not how it works. You need to define a profile for that. And so that's why I prefer SDR++ for discovering new signals more, which I do pretty often. And the problem with that is that I need to go onto my roof, remove the SDR or RSPDX concretely from the box, go ahead and get a 20-meter coax, run it down to my room, and then plug the SDR into the computer, and that is simply just not practical. So I discovered a solution that is pretty clever, and I'll show it to you. It's called SDR++ Server. It's basically SDR++, but if you open up a terminal and type in a special command, it will transform SDR++ into a server. And via this server, you can have full control over the SDR device that you are running. So for me, my RSPDX on the roof. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can set this on Windows and Linux. So let's start with Windows. So here I am on my computer, and what you want to do is open up the folder that you installed the SDR++ application. For me, I have it in the Documents folder. And here we can see the SDR++.exe file, and we are going to be needing this. Next, what you want to do is click over here and copy the path. And if you are on older version of Windows, just right click the executable, click Properties, and here you have the path that you want to copy. Next, press Windows and R keys on the keyboard, and it should open up this Run dialog. And in here, type CMD and then enter. And it should bring up a command prompt. Mine is a little different than yours is probably, but the functionality is the same. I just use it more often, so I customized it a little. So what you want to do is type cd space, this stands for change directory, and then right click, and you should paste in the location of the SDR++.exe. Next click enter, and it should change the location that the command prompt is in. And then here, what you want to look at is the name of the file or name of the executable. So that is sdrpp.exe. You can just type sdrpp, then space, then two of these guys. I don't know how they are called in English, sorry for that. And type in server. Next, what you want to do is type another one of those, and type P, and then choose a random port. Let's say 8449. Now click enter, and it should start doing something. If a firewall dialog or a window pops up, just click allow. So next, what you want to do is open up the SDR++ application, and since I do not have any SDR devices connected to my computer right now, it's not going to show anything. But next thing that you want to do is we can exit out of this application by pressing Ctrl and C, and what you want to do is type ipconfig, and this should bring up all of the IP addresses. If you know the IP address of your computer, you can just use that, but since you probably don't know that, type in ipconfig and it should bring up Windows IP configuration. Next, you want to pick your network adapter that you are using, and I'm using the Ethernet adapter, Ethernet, so since I have a desktop computer, I have an Ethernet plugged in. If you are using Wi-Fi, you should find something like Wi-Fi. And what you want to focus on is the IPv4 address, and copy these guys over here by selecting them and right clicking. It is now copied into your clipboard. Next, we can execute the command again, so press the up arrow 2 times and it should bring up the command. You can actually browse through the history of the commands by clicking up and down arrows on your keyboard. Next, click enter and it should bring up this server looking thing again. So now my IP address is 192.168.191.94, and this is not your public IP address, this is a local IP address, so this only works on your local network. If you want to, let's say, use it at the friend's house or on the go, you will need to port forward it. And that is a topic for another video, so if you want me to do a tutorial on how to port forward on your router, just type it into the comments below. And next, we need to type the port that you chose. I chose the port, where is it? 8449. So I'll type 8449, and you can see it's also in here, 8449. Next, what you want to do is to select the SDR server in here. You need to do that first and then type in these addresses. Then click connect, and it's not going to do anything since I do not have an SDR device plugged into my computer, as I already said. But you could just click RTL SDR and it should start working right away. So let's do the same thing on Linux, or more concretely Raspberry Pi OS. So, to do the same thing on your Raspberry Pi, you first need to install the Raspbian OS. And also I'm going to do a video about that, so if it already came out, there is a link somewhere in the corner of your video, but I will link a tutorial in the video description if you want to do that. But let's talk about how you can do the same thing on your Raspberry Pi. You first need to flash your Raspberry Pi with the Raspbian OS, and I linked a tutorial in the video description so you can take a look at it. I already have my Raspberry Pi flashed and running, so what I want to do is to press the Windows and R keys on the keyboard and type CMD. Next, click enter and it should bring up a command prompt like this. So one thing that you want to try is type in SSH. It should display something like this, but if it doesn't work, it should display this error message. Since I do have the SSH module on my computer, it works. But if you don't, you'll need to install an application that is free and it's called PuTTY. So click this, putty.org, and click download PuTTY right here. Next, in the package files section, you need to pick 64-bit x86. Click this, and it should download an installer and just install the application over here. I've already done that, so you can cancel out of that. So first I'm going to show you how you can connect to your Raspberry Pi through the command prompt, and then how you can connect to your Raspberry Pi via PuTTY. So through the command prompt, you just type in SSH, then space, and now type your username on the Raspberry Pi, so Pi, then the @ symbol, and then what you want to do is type in the IP address of your Raspberry Pi. You can find that out through the router, or there are a number of ways to locate the IP address of your Raspberry Pi, and I'll link a tutorial in the video description again. So mine has an IP address 192.168.1.132, and after you enter that, so let's try that again. And yes, this is what it should look like. Now type in yes and enter. And what you want to do is type in your password for the Pi user on the Raspberry Pi. Don't be confused if the command prompt isn't showing any characters. This is a security feature, and don't worry, the password is in there, it's just not showing it. So click enter, and we are successfully in our Raspberry Pi. So what I did is clear the screen with the clear command, and let's start. I'm actually right now in the process of editing this video, and I totally forgot to show how you can connect to the Raspberry Pi through the PuTTY. So let's do that. So what you want to do is search for PuTTY over here. Click open, and it should bring up PuTTY configuration tool. Click SSH over here and type in an IP address of your Raspberry Pi, and keep every setting the same. Now click open. It should open up a window like this, but you can click accept, and you can see we get this login as prompt. So type in your user on the Raspberry Pi, which is for me Pi, like that, and just type in your password for the Raspberry Pi. And from here, the steps in the PuTTY version and the Raspberry and the terminal SSH version are the same. So what you want to do is open up the sdrpp.org website. If you watched my previous video on how you can download the SDR++, you're familiar with this, and we are going to click the mainly build button. Okay, so this window with all of the versions for the SDR++ software should pop up. What you want to do is select a platform. If you ran something like Debian or Ubuntu, there are also releases for that, so you can see Debian, macOS, Ubuntu and Windows. The process is actually same on all of the platforms, but I'm going to pick the Raspberry Pi OS version. So what you want to do is right click and click copy link. This should copy the download link to your clipboard. So let's close out of this and type in wget space and then right click. It should pop the command into the command prompt, and now just click enter. And this is actually good. As you can see, it successfully saved the file. It means that the file is now saved onto the SD card of the Raspberry Pi. you can actually list the directories with the ls command. Now what you want to do is type in sudo apt install dot and slash strpt, and you can click tab, and it should automatically give you the full name of the file, but if you want you can just type the full name by yourself. Next, click enter, and I've already used sudo command a lot of times, but it will ask for the password again, and the principle is the same. It will not show the password, but it is typing the password into the command prompt, and that is again a security feature. So as you can see, I already have the SDR++ software installed, but it should install normally. If you have any problems with the installation, you can look it up on the internet, or type in your problem down into the comment section of this video, and I'm actually reading every comment that I get on my videos, so there is a good chance I will help you with your issue. So next, we're just gonna type SDR pp, then this guy 2 times, server, and now this thing at P, and let's configure a port. So let's say 8449. You can pick any port, but I recommend using a 4-digit or 5-digit random number. If the port is already taken by something, so let's say 22, it would error out and crash. So that is a good indication that the port that you picked isn't free. So let's say 8449 again, and click enter. And oh yeah, I'm actually already running the software, so I'll just type this kill command. This is something that tmix is actually a Linux utility that lets you run multiple applications in the background, and this is not something you should worry about. It's just a thing that I use personally, and this is not part of the tutorial. So let's type in the command again, and you saw an error over there that it cannot connect to my RTL SDR because the RTL SDR is actually running dump 1090 software for decoding ADSB signals from the aircrafts, but it successfully linked the SDR play source, and we can now open the SDR++ software. One thing that you want to do is keep this window opened and type in the IP address of the Raspberry Pi, which is this one for me, and then the port that you chose. I click connect, and you can see it again says connected, and I can press the play button, and you can see we are remotely connected to the SDR headphones. We can successfully hear the SDR.
You are 59178 IPA. 59178 IPA. QSL? 178 IPA. Thank you. Good luck. Thank you very much, and have fun in the contest. This is Delta Lima 1 Echo Echo November, QRZ.
And so you can now use the SDR++ application as you would normally. And this is about everything that I'm going to show you in today's video. If you liked it, you can click the like button. If you disliked it, you can click the dislike button. And if you would like to see more of these helpful tutorials and some DIY projects and radio stuff and that kind of thing, you can click the subscribe button and do not forget the notification bell so to get notifications when I publish new videos. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.